Ahead on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
We'll focus on building better cattle through nutrition that lasts, with expert insights from leading producers and our friends at Purina Animal Nutrition.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. One of the most critical factors to your success in the cattle business is the nutrition you provide for your animals. Proper nutrition can make all the difference in the health of a herd and in the profitability of an operation. And that's our focus today, designing a nutrition program for all seasons that will keep your cattle on the right track. And we have an experienced group of folks with us today to talk about comprehensive cattle nutrition programs. Let's first start with our producers. First of all, we have Steve Thoney with us from Rosebud, Montana. Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself and your operation.
Well, like I tell everybody, I started with nothing and I got most of it left. So. It's mostly cow-calf. We run about 600-700 mother cows, keep all our heifer calves, breed them, sell bred heifers. We've AI'd since 1987. We sell about 50 head of commercial Angus bull calves every year. And depending on the market, we sometimes sell our steer calves. We feed them, background them, just kind of see what the market does. It's just me and my wife. We got 4 border collie dogs, and we pretty much run the place. It's 22,000 acres, wow. Sagebrush and cheatgrass, and we don't put up any hay. Wow. We don't do any farming. We buy all our feed, put cows on corn stalks or whatever, but try and run a low input operation.
Sure. We'll look forward to learning more about that as we go today. And also with us, coming to us from, King City, Missouri, right?
Correct.
Tony Washburn. Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Our operation involves my wife and I and our 3 kids, and then my mom and dad are involved in the operation. We pretty much provide all the labor, and we're a cow-calf. We run about 800 mama cows, or 400 mama cows, I'm sorry. And we keep all our heifers, breed them, put them back in the herd. We retain ownership on our steers, send them to the feedlot. And we also do row crop, so we do raise corn and beans, and we put up quite a bit of hay and stuff. So we're in a different location. We run about 1,000 acres of pasture, hay ground, and we row crop about 1,000 acres.
Very good. Well, as we wind up this year, I'm curious, how's the year shaping up for you up there?
Way better than last year.
That's good. Why so?
Well, last year we had nothing, no rain. Weaned our calves in September, 1st of September. They're mostly March and April calves. And this year it rained a little bit. We got some grass, so it's way better.
Pretty good. Good. And how about you?
We're similar. Last year we didn't have near the hay production that we did this year. We have got more hay this year than we've had in quite a while, so that's going to make the winter go a lot better.
You bet.
The main factor we're dealing with right now is the lower cattle prices, and trying to deal with those and make every dollar count.
I suspect Purina is going to help us with these cattle prices, correct?
Sure hope so.
That's good. And speaking of Purina, we have a couple of gentlemen with us from Purina. First of all, Glen Waters, a sales specialist from Missouri. Glen, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Kevin. My name's Glen Waters. I live in Northwest Missouri, about an hour outside of Kansas City with my wife and 2 children on a farm. And so we raise some commercial cows and also have a fledgling purebred Hereford project starting up since our daughters come of age to start showing. And so along with that, have worked with Purina for over 24 years now, primarily service it's 25 counties in Northwest Missouri, and that's primarily brood cow business. Sure. So we're working with dealers and cooperatives and producers up there dealing with minerals, things to help to try to increase their profitability and performance, and have a great group of people to work with and really enjoy that opportunity.
And coming to us all the way from North Dakota, Lance Ingot. Lance, introduce yourself.
All right, well, thank you, Kevin. Like Glenn, I've been around representing the Purina brand for about 24 years. I've actually celebrated 22 years with the company in March, and grew up on a small cow-calf diversified grain operation in northwestern North Dakota. And as times have changed, that's shifted over to basically a grass ranch now. So my family's still involved up there, and I cover about the western 2/3 of North Dakota. I get into eastern Montana out to Billings and cover parts of South Dakota as well, working really predominantly with commercial cow-calf and feedlot business, and then also some seed stock producers and purebred operations as well. So.
Fantastic. Well, guys, tell us just a little bit about how you work with producers to design nutritional programs for them. Glenn?
Well, Kevin, my main focus when we're working with producers, and whether it's a purebred producer, whether it be a commercial operator, whatever their segment of the business might be, is I think before we start thinking in terms of making recommendations or throwing ideas out, is it's incumbent on us to ask some questions to figure out what their specific needs are. There's certainly things from a nutritional standpoint to consider from the cattle. There's obviously equipment, facilities, labor situations to deal with. What is our current climate and environment situation? And try to start pulling some of those pieces together to ultimately make a recommendation that's sound from a performance standpoint, but also economically delivers value to the producer.
Mm-hmm. What would you add to that, Glenn?
You know, I would certainly echo what Glenn had said. The other thing that it's really incumbent and important that we really understand the operation from the ground up. You know, you think about across a lot of the area that we cover, you know, of course, operations in eastern Montana are much different than they are in central North Dakota. And although the nutritional requirements of the cattle are similar, you know, management practices, you know, how they implement, like Glenn said, products, programs, how they operate their operations is something that we really need to understand so that we can make qualified recommendations from a nutritional standpoint.
Tony, I know you work with Glenn very closely in your operation. I'm curious, what has that meant for your operation?
Well, kind of like the way Glenn talked, you know, before he made a recommendation, when we had talked about what my goals and objectives were, you know, he went through everything and we looked at that, and then he made his recommendations from there. And he's only a phone call away when I have a question. More than willing to come by, you know, as needed to help solve a problem or address an issue. And, you know, it's just been a great working relationship, and he tells you the way it is, you know, doesn't sugarcoat it, tells you the way it is. And, you know, I like that because then you can proceed from there.
You bet. And Glenn, what kind of ideas and insights do you try to bring to producers like Tony?
Well, it's a pleasure to work with Tony and his father because they're such good managers. They're open to ideas. They're open to considering new avenues or ways to go about producing beef and do it more efficiently and do it at a higher level. So in terms of their operation, I'm always thinking about bringing a new idea or a new program or something that might tweak or enhance the performance that their cattle can achieve. They have high-performing cattle, and they've worked a long time to get their herd in that position. So we owe it to them to bring opportunities forward to help them do that. And I'd be remiss too, Kevin, if we didn't mention in this process that anytime there's a good relationship between the Purina sales specialist and a producer like the Washburn family or like Steve and his family, as there's always a very integral relationship with a Purina dealer or a local cooperative to service that account.
You bet. And Steve, I know you work closely with Lance as your sales specialist. Tell us a little bit about that relationship.
Well, you can call Lance, you know, if you have trouble with, say you got a drought or you're short of forage or whatever. He can give you some ideas on what products to use and how to do it, you know. And we had a feed store for 8 years, so I kind of know more than the average producer about some of that. So that helps, but, you know, you can bounce questions off Lance and he'll come up with some kind of a ration or something to help you out.
That's outstanding. Lance, what are some of the things you've done to help Steve and his family achieve some of their goals?
You know, what's interesting is Steve introduced himself and talked about, you know, the different segments of beef production that they're in is, really to learn kind of the operation and understand what they're trying to accomplish at any given time based on market situations or that type of thing. So, we really have a good, strong working relationship, two-way communication, understand what's going on, and try and make the best recommendations based on the needs at any given time on Steve and Pat's ranch.
And you mentioned any given time. I know, being a Purina customer myself, you really believe in different nutrition at different stages of an animal's life. Why do you two think that's so important? What would you share with our viewers?
Well, I think depending, Kevin, on the stage of production and the situation you have those animals in, that the same product or the same nutrition package over those windows of time may not always address the needs of an animal, because I've always made the statement to Tony and other customers in Northwest Missouri that the needs of a calf nursing a cow out on pasture are certainly different than a calf that's been brought into a trap or a dry lot situation to wean and deal with the stress of weaning. So I don't think it would be wise for us to think that the same product we're creep feeding that calf would be the one to deliver the nutritional support they need under that stressful time of weaning. So we're going to figure out where they're at, where we want to take them to, and what's our best avenue to get them to that given point.
Mm-hmm. Lance, what would you add?
Well, I think when you look about, or when you think about, covering all segments of beef production or all life stages, the Purina All Seasons Cattle Nutrition Program gives us that opportunity with different products throughout the program that we can put into play at any given stage of beef production, be it weaning, be it growing, be it backgrounding, be it heifer development, bull development, cow nutrition. There is a product and a program within that All Seasons Cattle Nutrition Program that really we can fit into any given situation at any time.
So Glenn, why don't you introduce Purina's new program that supports cattle throughout all stages of their growth and life cycle. Tell folks a little bit about that.
You bet, Kevin. So Lance just alluded to it. Purina's All Season Cattle Nutrition Program is the new platform that we're utilizing to spread out our entire nutritional program offering to beef producers, and that'll be a nationwide offering. And so the thing that's unique about the Purina All Seasons Cattle Nutrition Program is whether you're a small operator that works on the weekend maybe or after hours on a job, or whether you're a full-time significantly sized rancher, is there are products and methods within that program that you can utilize to cover the needs and the specific situations that you have on hand. So we can help you achieve more performance, we can help producers save labor, we can help producers increase the rate of gain, decrease the cost per pound of gain. Any of those targets or goals that you may have, there's a way to deliver that nutritional package to your cattle through Purina's All Season Cattle Nutrition Program.
Outstanding. Looking forward to learning more about that. We're going to dig much deeper into this important topic throughout our program today. Now, if you'd like more information about cattle nutrition, Purina, or any of our discussion topics today, you can always visit the website purinamills.com/cattle. Still ahead on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll hear what our two producers think about the value of consistent nutrition throughout every stage of an animal's life. And we'll share some strategies that can help you overcome challenges on your operation and ensure your cattle get the consistent nutrition they need. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, I think a rancher has to be a steward of the land. There's nobody else that can take care of land better than a rancher can, because he has to make his living off of it. When we switched over to the Purina products, it was a step in the right direction, and it's really been profitable for us. It just makes that much of a difference.
The difference we see in the cattle is the consistency of their nutrition. They don't go up and down drastically in weight. Every head on this ranch is fed the Purina Superlix 30. If we keep them on that feed, they stay in optimum condition year-round.
The cattle hold their condition a lot better all throughout the whole year. The products they're producing are very much in line with what the rancher needs to be using to be profitable in the future. That's the best thing ever happened to us.
It does make a difference that we can see, day in and day out.
You know, there is a saying, hay lost in the field robs yield. That's why John Deere balers are designed with tightly spaced belts so you capture more crop in every pass. Compared to other balers with wide-spaced belt designs, John Deere balers let you put up more quality hay and put more money in your pocket. That's how we run. And that's why nothing runs like a Deere.
Welcome back to this special edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, as we hear from the animal nutrition experts with Purina and learn about the value of a strong nutrition program for your cattle. I want to ask our producers, what does a comprehensive nutrition program mean to your operations? Tony, you want to begin?
Well, in our operation, the primary foundation is having a good mineral out to the cow herd year-round. You've got to meet their mineral needs so they are productive. And then based on the year, the time of year, the life cycle of the animal, depending on where you need to fill in on a protein supplement. You know, in drier times, we will put out rangeland tubs, which are a 25-in tub, an all-natural protein, to supplement the cows to boost them up and utilize our hay or dry grass more efficiently. And then moving into the calf life cycle, you know, providing the calf with the nutrition they need. When they're on the cow, we provide a creep feed that has a limiter in it to boost the cow's ability to run more calves on fewer acres. And, you know, then going on into the weaning stage, you know, you have got to provide that calf with a good diet for them to reach their maximum potential of their genetics.
Steve, what would you add?
Well, in our operation, we don't creep feed just due to the size of the pastures. The area is rough, you know, but we try and keep mineral out all the time. Where we're at, cattle don't eat a lot of mineral, so it was kind of a challenge to find one that they would eat. There's a lot of salt in the water and alkali in the ground, so cattle don't eat much, you know. But then, like in the winter, we take cows to corn stalks, and so we feed a protein supplement, whether it's a tub or a block, you know, and then we feed AccuRation in the spring to our cows when we're calving. Just fill the creep feeder, pull it out in the pasture, and let them eat it, you know. And that pretty much, we're feeding a little hay then. The cows will kind of eat what they need, you know, and when the grass greens up, they quit eating it. So they, you know, the cow tells you kind of what she needs, and that's kind of how we do it.
So what role does nutrition play as we think about moving from one life stage to the next? You mentioned that a little bit. Tell us more, Tony.
Well, your cow, typically she is raising a calf, either rebreeding or carrying another calf, so she is always constantly trying to continue on the next generation. So, you know, you have to keep her in optimum condition to either raise the calf, get ready to breed, to raise another calf, and then once she's weaned a calf, you can kind of relax, and like he says, we turn out on corn stalks in the fall of the year, and you know, that's where if they are set up, you can utilize those corn stalks because they're at their optimum level, and that is the time of the year where they don't need much to maintain their body, and you know, you can utilize some of the lesser forages.
So for our Purina experts, how do you work with producers to identify and recommend solutions? Glenn?
Well, Kevin, when we go to a farm and visit with a producer or to a ranch, typically we're either there because there's been a question raised or we've identified that there's something to discuss. So rather than taking a shotgun approach to throwing out some recommendations or some ideas, is we want to try to do some questioning to figure out some specific situations or some specific needs. So say in the case of when I would have called on Tony for the first time and talked to him about their operation, is we were starting to look at some ways to try to get more performance and more efficient growth out of their calves while they were nursing a cow. And so we started talking about some creep feed options. And so we start walking through what do you see, what would you like the outcome to be, and then we start to figure out some methods to help get them to that given endpoint. And the beautiful thing about the Purina All Seasons Cattle Nutrition Program is we have multiple tools essentially in our toolbox that we can bring to the table that are available nationwide for our sales specialists and our dealers to offer to producers like Tony or Steve in order to try to get that need met.
Outstanding. Lance, what would you add?
Well, I think about taking a real consultative approach to understanding what's going on, the problems that might exist on any given operation, and then trying to come with some solutions that fit. And there might be more than one. There could be a couple of solutions, there could be a couple of products within the Purina All Seasons cattle nutrition program that fit. So then it's a matter of understanding the operation and again the management piece, how can they implement that specific program, and understanding how best to meet the needs of the operation based on what problems and may be existing at the time.
Tony, over break, we were talking about some of the industry challenges we've all experienced the last couple of years. Tell folks how that's impacted your nutritional decisions.
One big thing in the last 5 years is the high grain prices. That has brought a lot of pasture out of grass production and into crop production. So we have lost a lot of acres of pasture, so we have fewer acres to run cows on, and pasture is becoming very hard to get a hold of, and we're having to do more on less acreage. And Purina's helped by their different programs, being able to utilize an acre of ground more efficiently, produce more beef on it. And the high grain prices have required us to try and be more efficient on growing the calves. We need to get more bang for our buck, and the Accuration starter that we use on our creep feed, our calves do amazing from weaning through backgrounding on that, and we're actually getting more gain on less feed.
Wow.
And with the high grain prices, that has really made a difference.
So Glenn, tell us a little bit about Purina's reaction to some of these challenges, specifically this issue of fewer acres of pasture.
Yeah, so one of the great advantages of some of our Accuration programs, which we use within the Purina All Seasons Cattle Nutrition Program, is they're high nutrient density programs that we can utilize either as complete feeds or, fortunately in our area, we utilize as grind and mix products in many cases to supplement what forages or roughages are available. And then we can do a better job of maximizing performance. So specific to Tony's situation is they've done a good job over a long window of time of AIing cattle and breeding a whole lot of performance into their calves. They like to finish their calves out or partner with other owners in the finishing process with their cattle. So our programs have been helpful in their regard to get more performance, get the calves moving more rapidly down the production chain. Once they're weaned, we can maximize performance in a very efficient package. Yet, Tony mentioned earlier that he and his dad essentially are the labor source. So we've been able to save them some labor at the same time to do some other things in their operation, to not to have to give up head count, acres, other things that they need to do to make a living with. And ultimately, they've delivered high quality calves at a faster rate, at a more economical delivery package to finish their cattle.
And that's what it's all about, especially as we go into a more depressed pricing era here in the cattle business. Steve, you mentioned a weather challenge being drought. Tell folks about how some weather challenges have impacted your nutritional decisions.
Well, like last year, it never rained all summer. We had grass from 2014, none in 15. We used all the 14 grass last year. So we were forced to either sell cows, try and find more grass. There's no grass to lease, so we went to putting out tubs, feeding AccuCreep, things to try and stretch. We early weaned, put the calves in the lot and fed them, and when you wean a calf off a cow, the cow requirements drop by a third or better. So you can turn a cow out on nothing and she'll maintain, and yeah, it costs to feed the calf, but it's cheaper than feeding the cow and the calf. Right. So, and then we went with the pre-con, and then we switched to the, we call 80-20 or 70-30 corn Accuration blend, and that seems
Worked
to
out pretty good.
Work good, yeah.
Lance, I mean, you face some very challenging weather conditions up in the territory that you cover. Tell folks how you do help producers deal with those weather events.
Well, I think, again, it's about understanding what the cow's needs are at any given time. Steve alluded to a drought condition where, we need to supplement, so we can stretch grass or keep cows on grass longer, early weaning. So when you think about that, the beauty of the Purina All Seasons cattle nutrition program, the flexibility of the products and the programs that are under that umbrella really make it a unique program that we can bring solutions at any given time. The other thing, of course, we deal with in the north is cold stress, and so one thing, we talk about supplementation, we talk about it from a protein standpoint, but at the same time, when we're dealing with cold stress, we're dealing with an energy situation as well. So, we come in, we look at, be it a program for cows using AccuRation blocks or the AccuRation meal or even the AccuRation liquid, to get some additional intake and bring some energy into those diets so that they do meet that cold stress.
Well, this is a very good discussion so far, and I really appreciate your insights. Still to come, we'll take a closer look at Purina's all-season cattle nutrition program and the things that help it stand out from the competition. Don't go away. We'll be back with more right after this.
No storm is too powerful for new Purina Wind and Rainstorm minerals, formulated with ultimate weather resistance. That means more minerals in the feeder and available to your cattle. Wind and Rainstorm minerals provide more consistent intake and balanced mineral nutrition to optimize herd health and breedback rates. See the difference at your local Purina dealer or visit cattlenutrition.com. Wind and Rainstorm minerals, another way Purina is building better cattle.
What does it mean to be an American cattleman? It means you have what it takes where it counts, on the inside. At Ritchie, we understand that. It's what's on the inside that defines us. We share the same values: ingenuity, commitment, sense of pride. These are the values that built this country. They're the values that built this company. Ritchie, proud to be a partner to the American cattleman since 1921.
The 2017 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show is set for Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. It's the cattle industry's biggest convention with education, networking, and fun. Plus, you can check out the huge NCBA Trade Show, outstanding entertainment, and much more. Mosey on down to Music City for the 2017 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, February 1st through the 3rd. Visit beefusa.org for more.
Welcome back. We're focusing on year-round cattle nutrition and the work of Purina in helping producers grow and care for their cattle in the most efficient ways possible. I'd like to begin our discussion talking first of all about the Purina All Seasons cattle nutrition program. And I guess, Lance, tell us why it's so unique.
Well, to start out, we would be remiss if we didn't mention our research facility and the amount of research that goes into the products and programs that we bring to the marketplace. We have a 1,200-acre research farm about 40 miles southwest of St. Louis that all of our products, all of our programs, the Purina All Seasons cattle nutrition program was developed there, tested so that we feel confident coming out into some select environments around the United States and really get some field trials going. Once we're comfortable that it works in the field, then we can launch something nationwide. And when you look at that program specifically, you think about the convenience of it. There's, it's a self-fed program. We can put product out. There's several different forms of the product. Flexibility, again, we're using typically one program that covers all life stages of beef production. And, you think about helping us be more efficient with forage digestibility, forage usage, that type of thing too. And then, when you look at Purina history, there's certainly the legacy piece involved. And, if we can help producers do a better job, be more efficient, then they can pass the legacy of their operation on to another generation.
So, Steve, how's the health and wellness of your cattle impacted by the nutrition program that you implement?
Well, if the nutritional needs aren't met of a calf, I don't care how many shots you give him or how much vaccine, it doesn't work properly. And Since we started using the Purina feeds and we wean early or late, we have way less sickness, and even throughout the year, we used to have some pneumonia problems, and we've seen that go away in the summertime when you have fluctuation in temperatures. We precondition sometimes if we wean early, we won't give shots till we bring the calves to the corral, but they go on the pre-con and we have very little sickness. So if they're fed right, they don't usually get sick.
Tony, let's talk performance. What performance advantages have you seen with the comprehensive nutrition program?
Well, starting with the cow, meeting her mineral supplementation right and everything, you're starting out with conception. And the whole time that cow is carrying that calf, the mineral nutrition, the protein, everything is affecting that fetus growing in her. And starting from the very beginning of conception, will carry on through that calf's life stage throughout. And we, since switching over to the AccuRation and weaning the calves, we start out with the AccuRation starter and move into the transition to the AccuRation grower. And we'll run those calves up to 6.5, 700 pounds and then send them onto the feedlot. And we are slaughtering our steers at anywhere from 12 to 14 months of age. So we are pushing those calves extremely well, and we're still meeting, we're running 90% plus on choice or better steer cattle. So,
Glenn, you get around a lot of herds. How have you seen Tony's cattle improve over time?
Well, the first thing I would always say is he and his father do a tremendous job of managing the herd, and they also do a tremendous job of putting genetics in place so that they can perform. But with those being given, I've seen the efficiency of gain in their operation improve with using products and programs out of the Purina All Season Cattle Nutrition Program. I've seen them be able to continue to increase the size and scope of their operation because we've been able to take away some of the chore requirements and labor requirements that they've had in their operation previously, and been able to allow them to utilize some self-feeding technology to stretch their labor so that they can continue to either hold animal numbers together or increase them. And then we're seeing their cattle advance through the weaning stage healthier and at heavier weights and at more efficient performance, and ultimately get those steers, as Tony mentioned, to the feedlot quickly and efficiently so that they can have an opportunity to earn a living off of them and ultimately pass their operation down to the next generation.
Lance, what would you add about the changes in seasons relative to the nutritional programs that your other customers use?
Well, I think it goes back to the fact that we've got programs within the Purina All Seasons Cattle Nutrition Program that fit any given time period, and not all of those fit at exactly the same time. And not all of those fit in exactly every single operation the same way. So when you look at seasons, when you look at weather stress, you look at drought, you look at some of the environmental conditions, hay quality and quantity, that type of thing, we can fit a program to fit the needs of a cow-calf beef operation at any given time.
Glenn, you mentioned convenience early on, and I'd like you to expound on that. Why is convenience such an important factor as you think about nutritional decisions?
Well, Kevin, as I work with producers and work with folks in all segments of agriculture, it seems that we continue to have more draws on our time, more responsibility to try to cover with our time. And so to be able to take the investment of time to figure out solutions or go find stuff on your own can be very challenging, because there's so many draws from your professional side and your business as well as your family side. And so the convenience of having programs in place that you can put out for animals to consume on their own, that are available with a local dealer or cooperative to service, to make sure that that product is available, that's put out there adequately and in a way that the animals can get the benefit out of it. I think that's one of the real tremendous values that our Purina All Seasons Cattle Nutrition Program can bring to producers at this point in time.
Thanks again for the insights and information you all have provided. We really appreciate it. Now, if you want to learn more about Purina All Seasons Cattle Nutrition Program, visit the website purinamills.com/cattle. Still ahead, we'll discuss the keys to success in managing a mineral program. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sure, cattle bring in the profits, but Case IH equipment helps you do everything else.
Well, I think a rancher has to be a steward of the land. There's nobody else that can take care of land better than a rancher. When we switched over to the Purina products, it was a step in the right direction.
The difference we see in the cattle is the consistency of their nutrition.
The cattle hold their condition a lot better throughout the whole year.
It does make a difference that we can see, day in and day out.
Sure, cattle bring in the profits, but Case IH equipment helps you do everything else.
Welcome back. We've talked a little about Purina's new All Seasons cattle nutrition program, and Lance, I'd ask you, why should producers be so confident in this All Seasons cattle nutrition program?
Well, I alluded to it earlier, Kevin, and it starts with our research piece. And we research the products and programs thoroughly, get a comfort level on how they work on our own research facility. And then again, we'll take them out into select field research trials so that we can gain further confidence that they're going to work in the environment that they're designed to work in before they ever get launched nationwide. The other thing, I think, when you look at our pool of sales specialists across the United States, a lot of us are in the cattle business, and we understand how to feed these on our own operations so that our customers can have confidence that we really do understand how to manage that program.
And Glenn, what would you add to that?
Well, Kevin, I think with the Purina All Seasons Cattle Nutrition Program, one of the most important things as sales specialists and our dealers and cooperatives can convey is the confidence that a producer can have in those programs. And so in our local area, but also nationwide, one of the things that we really spend a lot of time on is demonstrating that on each producer's operation. So we utilize a program called Proof Pays. And what that essentially is, Kevin, is the opportunity for producers at a local level to be able to try the Purina programs that have been recommended to them, and they can get hands-on experience with them while having the interaction with a dealer and also with a sales specialist to make sure that that's being implemented properly. That can be done in any life phase. It depends on what phase of cattle and what you're wanting to try as far as how many head of cattle might be involved, how long they might need to be on feed. But we commonly do proof pays demonstrations on creep feeding, weaning calves or receiving calves, brood cows consuming mineral or supplement, bull development programs. There's a vast array. Almost anything you do in your operation, we can utilize a proof pays demonstration. And the good thing is you have the opportunity to earn some incentive payment at the conclusion of conducting one of those proof pays trials.
Tony, tell folks a little bit about your own personal experience with the Proof Pays program.
Well, my initial introduction into this was Glenn had taken a group of us producers down to the research farm there outside of St. Louis, and that's what sparked my interest. The time, the commitment, the investment Purina has put into researching their product before I ever see it. I'm out here raising cattle. I'm not a nutritionist. They have spent the time, the investment to provide a feed that is totally balanced to meet the nutritional needs of the cattle. That's what got me started. And then Glenn told me about the Proof Pays, and our first group of calves, we started on this. We done a weight trial and everything, and we weighed them the day we weaned them, gave them all their vaccinations, put them on the Accuration starter, fed that for about 17 days, weighed them coming off of that, got our initial weight because we transitioned to the Accuration grower. So that was one trial, and then we started another on the grower. And done that, and it was amazing. Our calves were, the steer calves, when we sent them to the feedlot, basically at the same age, were averaging 100 to 150 pounds more than the previous year. Wow. Now granted, you're in a different environment, different weather, but that's significant. And we've been on it ever since and seen the same results.
Now, Lance, we haven't talked much about mineral programs, but I'd like you to expound a bit on that. How critical is a good mineral program?
Well, to me and to us at Purina and within the Purina All Seasons Cattle Mineral Program or Nutrition Program, mineral is really the cornerstone of that nutrition piece. Cattle need mineral every day. They need it in both macro and micro form. So by supplementing mineral on a daily basis, 365 days a year, we are meeting the needs of the cow and the calves as it relates to mineral requirements. The other thing is, Steve talked about it earlier, about certain areas where we don't quite get the mineral intake that we would like or desire based on forage conditions or ground conditions or water conditions and that type of thing. And when you look at our lineup of minerals, we have a laundry list of minerals available, and we can try and fit a specific mineral into an area where we maybe aren't getting quite the right intake that we would like to have.
So Glenn, what's one thing producers can do to beef up their mineral program?
I think, Kevin, the very most important thing they could do is they can make sure to put a mineral out in front of their cows that will be consistently and readily consumed. And so part of that ties into choosing the product. It also ties into choosing the form of it. So a lot of our producers, the majority of them, use a loose, dry mineral. But in areas where you really struggle to get mineral intake, Kevin, one of the tools that we bring to the table is a cooked molasses-based mineral tub, so that we can get intake when we really struggle with it on a dry mineral. I've always told folks, in essence, getting cows to consume minerals, getting them to consume a rock. And that's not the most palatable thing they're going to be exposed to. So sometimes that can be a little bit luck and a little bit science. So if that's a challenge, we do have options. We have tools at our disposal to get that job done.
And I think that's what I'm taking away. Lots of great options that you bring to the table. Thanks so much for your insights. We'll have more insights from our panel of experts right after this. Stay with us.
It's the official monthly publication of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. The National Cattleman is produced exclusively for NCBA members and includes coverage of the news and events affecting our industry. Every issue includes market analysis, feature stories, and practical management tips. Start receiving your copy of The National Cattleman. Call 866-USA-BEEF or go online to beefusa.org and join today.
There is a new world out there, revealing itself in unpredictable ways. A world that demands more from the land and those who grow, farm, and build on it. This new world calls for the ingenuity to get more out of it, while preserving as much as we can. After all, to stay ahead of tomorrow, we need to be equipped for it today. New Holland, equipped for a new world.
Welcome back to this special edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, as we get insights into the Purina All Seasons Cattle Nutrition Program and how it can help producers raise great cattle. And Steve, talking about great cattle, as producers, it's our goal to raise great cattle. How do you define that?
Well, I think a cow that you're meeting all her requirements at all times of the year. She stays in good body condition. They're shiny, People have pride in their cows. When somebody comes, they say, man, your cows look good. It makes a producer feel good, and you go out in the pasture and your cows are laying down, chewing their cud, they're content. All them things make great cattle.
I agree. And it's not just about great cattle, it's also about the longevity and future of our operations, right, Tony?
Yeah, I am a fourth generation to be farming in our area. Started with my great-grandfather there, and it's been handed down. Like I said earlier, my dad's still involved in the operation, and we work day to day together. And he's getting to the point where he's wanting to slow down and look at retirement. And I've got a daughter in college, a son in high school, and then a daughter in junior high. So, continuing on the legacy and being able to produce cattle and keep the operation going, keep it financially stable, so should they want to come back and join the operation, it will be there for them in the future.
Absolutely. And Glenn, we've talked a lot about it today, but how can our viewers find out more about the Purina All Seasons Cattle Nutrition Program?
Well, Kevin, I think one of the best ways for them to find out more or learn more about it is to follow up on what I talked about earlier, is see if there's an opportunity to conduct a proof pays demonstration, to try these programs on their own farm or ranch, and see if there is a fit and if it ties into improving performance and some of the outcomes on their cattle. So whether it's going to your local Purina dealer or cooperative that sells Purina, maybe it's contacting your local sales specialist, but reaching out, learning about that opportunity and getting those programs on your farm and figuring more out about them, I think is the best way to go about it.
Thanks, Glenn. Is there anything else any of the rest of you would like to add?
Well, I think one thing, you know, to change your program, people resist change, but a lot of times change is good, you know, and if you do one of these proof trials or switch to Purina, you know, the change, I think they'll like it. They won't switch back.
Very good. Thank you guys for this practical and pragmatic insight today. Now, to find out more about this and other topics related to cattle nutrition and Purina, visit the website purinamills.com/cattle. Don't go away. We'll be back with our good friend Baxter Black right after this.
No storm is too powerful for new Purina Wind and Rainstorm minerals, formulated with ultimate weather resistance. That means more minerals in the feeder and available to your cattle. Wind and Rainstorm minerals provide more consistent intake and balanced mineral nutrition to optimize herd health and breedback rates. See the difference at your local Purina dealer or visit cattlenutrition.com. Wind and Rainstorm minerals, another way Purina is building better cattle.
Want more profit out of your pasture? Then here's our 2 cents on using parasite control to make some dollars. In a trial of calves, Long Range outperformed Sidectin and Safeguard dewormers combined by as much as an extra 40 pounds. Yeah, that's a lot of extra profit, and that's why it pays to treat cattle with Long Range. Do not treat within 48 days of slaughter. Not for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows or in veal calves. Post-injection site damage can occur. These reactions have disappeared without treatment. You can't afford another season without Long Range.
Let's face it, you don't think a lot about your trailer hitch. You use it and forget it. We understand. But at B&W, we think about it. Short nights, the long hauls, the never-ending chores, the unthinkable. We think about it all, so you don't have to. B&W. Trusted.
Old Bill used to tell me, I've seen a lot of changes in my life, and I've been against every one of them. Well, Bill would have been against verification programs for sure. He would have ignored specialty markets like non-hormone natural and BQA. Too much trouble, he'd say. Bill's still driving his 76 3/4 ton and still doesn't have a cell phone. If you're interested, visit IMIglobal.com, or I could put you in touch with old Bill. It's not easy being a missionary, distributing religious pamphlets door to door. Homeowners will go to extremes, it seems, to avoid listening to you. Audrey and her husband Walter have a ranch in British Columbia around Fraser Lake. They're cattle people and run the place pretty much by themselves. Walter had gone out to check the cows one morning. After doing breakfast dishes, Audrey headed out to the shop to get something. Midway, she was surprised by a sneeze. It dislodged her upper plate and they hit the gravel 6 feet away. And in the time it took her to blink, Daisy, her new pup, raced in and scooped up the dentures and was off like a shot. Here, Daisy, good dog, you're a good puppy. Give Mama her teeth. Come, Daisy, sit, stay, Daisy. Come here, you miserable little excuse for a mongrel's offspring. You paper-eating, cat-chasing, slipper-chasing, sorry, no good. Here, Daisy, here. No, get over here before I pound you into taco meat. Daisy and the old dog Blue were making big circles in the yard with Audrey hot on their heels, alternately coaxing and cussing the canine teeth thief. Daisy raced to the doghouse situated by the back door porch and dived in. Audrey followed till she was waist deep and wrestled the precious dentures from Daisy. Just as she started to back out, she heard gravel crunch and a car door slam. Footsteps tromped up to the back door. The voices of 2 women were introducing themselves and asking Audrey personal questions about her religion. Actually, they were talking to Audrey's protruding backside. Audrey had her teeth in her hand. They were slippery, sticky, and covered with dirt. She had a short conversation from inside the doghouse, and very quickly, the ladies departed. As Audrey breathed a sigh of relief, she heard one of the ladies say, "You know, some people will go to any lengths." This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter. I've been in the doghouse before, but never quite like that. We'll be back right after this.
There are many great reasons to join NCBA, and that includes exclusive NCBA member discounts and benefits from some outstanding companies.
Hi, this is Kerry Bastine, President of Roper Apparel and Footwear, Stetson Apparel Boots, and Tin Hall. We are very proud sponsors of the NCBA, and for all new members signing up with the NCBA, you get 50% off your first purchase, and for all Go Forward members, you get 25% off 4 times a year. Go to urbanwesternwear.com, click on the NCBA specials, use your coupon code for your first 50% off, and come back to Urban Western Wear all year long and use your 25% coupons that you'll find in the National Cattlemen's newspaper.
Big discounts on boots, clothing, and Western apparel is just one of the many amazing deals you get as an NCBA member. Don't miss out. Join NCBA today and enjoy these exclusive member discounts. Find out more at beefusa.org.
Welcome back. We've sure gathered a lot of great insights into Purina's All Seasons cattle nutrition program today. And gentlemen, I want to thank you all for joining us. Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. We'll see you next week right here on RFD TV.